Hey everybody, Steve Kreiner, the Dog Soldier here. Welcome to this week's podcast. This week is episode number, I renumbered them. I think this is going to be episode number 3. This week we're going to talk about a lot of cool things, but one thing we are going to do is talk about air guns. Why air guns this week? Because we've been filming American Air Gunner hunt episodes all week. We've been bear hunting. We are live right now from the lodge at Dirk and Jen Jenkins' place, Great Plains Outfitters, GPOhunts.com. So, on top of TacticalPredatorHunter.com, bringing this to you tonight, we are sponsored tonight by GPOhunts.com. We're bear hunting. We've been running baits all week. We've got some good bears hitting the baits, but we're just not getting it done. But we're going to kill some bears. But aside from that, we're doing a lot of air gunner stuff. I slipped over into Montana today and shot, I think, 7 cottontails on this this segment. 2 days ago, I shot 13 rock chucks for American Air Gunner segment, and we're just having a heck of a time. So I'm going to show you a brand new air gun tonight that just hit the market, and it's an awesome air gun. And we're going to talk about Rambo bikes too. I just got my Rambo bikes. Now, this is not an official Rambo bikes podcast. We're just going to touch base a little bit because it does make life easier. I don't know why. It's just, you just roll up on stuff and shoot it. It's pretty well that simple. But anyway, give you some show updates before we get started talking about air guns and stuff. I seen as well Seth Rowland, a friend of mine, a big air gunner down in Arkansas, shared the post that we were going live. And he puts on the Arkansas Air Gun Show. If you guys don't know Seth Rowland, go to Facebook and just search Seth Rowland. The guy kills whitetails, hogs, about everything you can kill with air guns, and he's a pretty good dude. So this show, let's talk about the show for a little bit. We're kind of in an off season right now. As soon as we're done shooting bears, we're going to chill out a little ways. But a lot of things have been going on right now. A lot of crazy stuff this week. This has been one of the craziest weeks I've ever experienced as an outdoor personality. But I will tell you one thing. Great sponsors, great partners, great friends, and great family will get you through anything. It's awesome when things just go perfect. And I'm really, 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 really digging life right now. Dog Soldier is as strong as it's ever been. And we are 100%. We're moving forward. We're keeping our head up, and we're staying fearless, and we're not letting anything get in the way. We got so much momentum right now. It's crazy. We do have new partners come on, like Cirrus Windicator. They just signed with Dog Soldier, and they're super people. They're real people just like me and you. Rambo Bikes. I just got everything accomplished with them as far as getting the bikes in my hands. It took about 10 minutes to put the first bike together, and it took about 2 hours to get it on a hunt. And we're just rolling. Winchester, Flextone, Caldwell, Umarex, Wildlife Research Center, Barnett Halo, everybody. I want to thank you guys. Alaskan Guide Creations. I want to thank everybody. This has really been a good year. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started and talk about it. So this week, we were in Wyoming. I've got some bear baits over in Wyoming, about an hour and a half or 3 hours from the house. And between Dirk Jenkins, Great Plains Outfitters, and myself, we got several baits scattered all over the Bighorns. And we got a lot of bears. And the bear hunting is good, but it's early in the season. We're just getting things rolling, and we're working hard. It takes a lot of work to run these bear baits, and there's a lot of downtime. So that's when I grabbed my air gun. Now, I've worked for American Air Gunner for about 5 seasons now, actually a season longer than Dog Soldier. And I've had the opportunity to hunt with a lot of different air guns. I've had the opportunity to hunt a lot of different animals, from pigs, white-tailed deer, rattlesnakes, rock chucks, kangaroo rats, about everything you'd want to shoot with an air gun. And I'm going to tell you right now, today, or actually this week, has been one of the funnest weeks I've ever had with an air gun. There's so many new products right now hitting the market, and there's so many, there's just so much innovation right now, and it's nuts. I mean, we have 10-shot rotary magazines and air guns now that are so user-friendly and so easy to use. We all remember the old style with the rubber O-rings, and you know, there's just so much going on. Fully shrouded 25 calibers, fully shrouded 50 calibers. I mean, there's so much innovation, and the regulators are on air guns now that you don't have to spend $1,000 on. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight on the show. Mainly, we're going to talk about air guns. Now, this week we started off in Wyoming, and on our downtime, we decided to film a rock chuck hunting episode. And I had tried to film this segment 2 or 3 times before and never really got it done. I've taken several different air guns, and your shots are anywhere from 0 to 50, 75 yards sometimes on these rock chucks. I got a hot spot that's great for air gunning. Your longest shot is about 110 yards, which I have shot a rock chuck in the head with a 22 caliber air gun at 110 yards. I think my longest prairie dog kill is, Jen, did you film me shoot that prairie dog at time at 76 yards? Is that what it was?
Yep, it was.
Yeah, so 76 yards with a Springer. So, I mean, I really like stretching out there and shooting stuff a long ways away with an air gun. But what I really like is being able to have a gun that is accurate, that shoots the same multiple times, and I can dial that baby in from 15 to, for this week, for instance, this week my longest shot was 52 yards. So from 0 to 52 yards, I know just about how my pellet's going to fly all the time. And that's very, very, very important when you're air gunning. So this week we slip into this place, rock chucks galore, and there's usually 5 or 6 different rock chucks in each house, which is just a big rotten tree with a root system, and the rock chucks are just horrible on trees and root systems and about everything else they touch. And I'll tell you right now, one thing about it, when you set up on these houses, there's 5 or 6 rock chucks, and you want to take them all out. That's the whole goal, is to absolutely, and that's what we're trying to do. And so we set on our first rock chuck house, which is about 15 yards away, and we had literally killed 5 in probably 6 or 7 minutes. I'm getting ready to show you an air gun that allowed me to do that. I was very, 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 very impressed. Now, a lot of people know me. I'm not Willy Wonka. I don't sugarcoat hardly anything at all. I mean, it's just not in my nature. But when I find a product that, whether I work for the company or not, when I find a product, if it has flaws, if it has things I would like different, or if it has things that I think could be better, I will be right up front, and I'll be right up front and say it. Well, one thing about the air gun I'm going to show you is it's so user-friendly, feature-rich, and it's cost-effective. We started in this rock chuck town, and I squeezed the trigger 11 times and killed 11 rock chucks. My field producer, Jeremy, he killed a few rock chucks with it. We ended up killing 13, 14, 15 rock chucks in literally 30 minutes. And that's where your fully shrouded barrels come in, and I'll explain what that is here in a little bit. So then we went ahead and we started bear hunting again the next couple days, and then we caught ourselves in some downtime once again. So Dirk and Jen with Great Plains Outfitters, their ranch is right in the border of Wyoming and Montana. So where we keep all the lion dogs, it's actually on the Montana side. And in Montana, you can hunt cottontails. They're not considered a small game animal. They're actually just a pest, and you can hunt rabbits galore. Well, one thing about the cottontails, they look real cute and stuff, and everybody wants to pet them. And me, I like petting them because I like rabbits, but I do like eating them too. But one thing about cottontails, out west here in certain states, they're almost like an invasive species. Yeah, they're supposed to be here. They've been here forever, but it's like nobody wants them here. They chew strings on hay bales, and the ranchers, depend on hay bales staying intact, easier to feed. Moisture don't get into them. These square bales, even, when they're packed tight, they're put together for a reason. So there's a lot of stuff going on right there, and that's probably the main thing, aside from the holes that they dig and all the droppings everywhere and stuff like that. Probably the biggest problem I find with cottontails is hay bale strings. if you've got a big stack of, let's say, 100 alfalfa bales, you can just about count every hay bale on the bottom has been touched some negative way by a cottontail. So we slid out here today, and we got on the Montana side down by the dogs, and we went to shooting rabbits, and we killed 7 in just a few minutes and within 75 yards. You know, I got on my Rambo bikes. I got the Rambo bikes in, and 10 or 15 minutes assembly. We started playing around with it, and then we come out here to the ranch, and I just threw my pack on, grabbed my air gun, and I went hunting. And Jeremy, he grabbed it. I actually got 5 Rambo bikes today, and we put some together. Jeremy got on his, and we just went hunting. And we didn't cover a lot of ground. We rode from the ranch house here, which down to the dogs is about a mile or so, and it's a pretty damn big hill. And of course, riding down it was no problem. We get down there, we cruise up and down this little stretch of a bluff that you guys have seen on American Airgunner before, and we just annihilated them for about 30 minutes. I mean, we was really rough on them, and then we just packed up after filming and everything. I jump on the Rambo bikes, make it all the way up the big hill, not even broke a sweat, and I'm happy. So we're going to talk about in some future podcasts how Rambo bikes, I believe, is a tactic so outside of the box that I believe it's going to help me as a predator. I know it's going to help as a whitetail hunter, a mule deer hunter, antelope hunter. I can cover so much ground, so quiet, but motor noise is key. You know, I always tell everybody, if you can't get to your stand, it don't matter if you have coyotes or not. Can you imagine covering 30 miles without motor noise? And doing it in half the time or even a quarter of the time of walking? It's just crazy. So we're going to go ahead. I'm gonna switch over right here and just look at the man, a lot of, you know, that's one thing I like about the podcast is I just switched over to the watch page and kind of looking at the chat. I like the chat. You guys are so interactive with each other. I really dig it. I like reading the comments. I kind of got to where I can multitask a little bit and read comments while I'm talking to you guys. And, you know, Jason Allen's on, said he's got a rat problem in his backyard. He's going to like this episode because I'm going to show you an air gun that absolutely everybody can afford, and it shoots top notch. Yeah, Tyler, I have 2 of them. Tyler asked me if I had Air Force Texan and if I've ever seen them. I have 2 of them. They're pretty nice air guns, but we're going to talk about some. You remember when I said there's so much innovation right now in the air gun world? There is so much going on in the air gun world right now. You guys won't even believe really what's going on. I mean, it is so nuts right now. Hey, Brad from Troy, Tennessee. Thanks for joining us on the chat. I love it that you guys are here. So let's go ahead and talk about this new air gun. I know some of you guys watch the YouTube page. I'm a coyote hunter. I'm a world champion coyote hunter. I love freaking hunting coyotes, but I've had air guns in my hands from the time I can remember. I've had everything from the 1-crack daisies all the way up to the pump-up Crossmans, and now I'm shooting, you know, PCPs that I can shoot a 410 grain round ball at 900 feet per second, and I can kill whitetails, hogs. I can just about do anything I want with them. So there's so much innovation. I've been hanging around my field producer Jeremy's with us today, which is actually a real good friend of me and Dirk's from Iowa, and he's from the Carolinas, and he's turned Yankee. But the thing about him turning Yankees, he still says stupid stuff like innovation. He would say innovation. But anyway, okay, so here's what I got going on. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. Okay, this is the Umarex Gauntlet. Now remember this website, umarexusa.com, umarexusa.com, umarexusa.com. Now, why is this air gun, I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. Why is this air gun one of the most, I believe, innovative air guns to ever hit the market? Because it's under $300 and it's accurate as heck. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something right now that some air gunners might not believe me, and some people that's not familiar with air guns, will probably be more apt to believe it. But okay, so this air gun right here is $299. It has a 10-shot rotary clip, and I mentioned that a while ago. This is one of the most user-friendly rotary clips or 10-shot magazines, whatever you want to call it. Somebody's going to bust my balls for saying clip, because I like to put my clips in AR-15s when I know they're magazines. Maybe I do that stuff on purpose. I don't know. But this is a 10-shot rotary magazine. Most user-friendly air gun magazine I've probably ever used. It's so simple. You can load it on the fly. If you get into rabbits, if you get into pigeons, if you get into kangaroo rats, whatever, if you shoot 10 times, you can really make things happen and load it fast. It is a bolt action air gun. Okay. Now, you guys see me crack it back and slide it down. That allows me to put the clip in and out. When I'm hunting, I shoot, I simply lift the bolt, cock it back, push it forward, and it's ready to shoot. Okay. So let's talk about the stock. Adjustable cheek piece. Believe it or not, yes, there are times that I do not run my mouth. And it's only when my cheek is welded to the buttstock on a rifle, when I'm probably not punching paper, but I'm getting ready to shoot something. So this adjustable cheek piece is very important to me. Now you guys have seen, let's see here, about 10 years now or 11 years. You guys have been probably 12, I guess, or more. Probably watching me on TV all the way from the Operation Predator days all the way through Dog Soldier. And I've always had a cheek piece on my rifles in some sort of fashion. I've had wadded up foam with boxing wrap, like boxers, and made cheek pieces that way. But one thing about it, when I look through a scope, I want my cheek, my bone right here, welded. The same place every time. I don't have to worry about holding my head up or doing any of this. Adjustable cheek pieces are not just cool. And they don't just look cool. Now, if they didn't have a use, they do look cool enough. I'd probably have one anyway. But believe it or not, they are very, very, very useful. And they are a necessity, I think, for accurate shooting. So we did implement one of these in the stock. Adjustable cheek piece. You just simply turn it in and out. It's that simple. And it goes up and down. So it adjusts like that. Okay. So, remember a while ago when I talked fully shrouded barrel? This is a full free-floating barrel right here. And it's fully shrouded. What that means is it catches the air out at the end and it baffles it. It's very, very quiet. Now, one thing about air guns and one thing about shrouded barrels is it allows you to make multiple shots over and over and over again in a target-rich environment, and you're not scaring anything. You remember me telling you I tried to pull off the rock chuck hunt a couple times before with several different air guns? We killed 5 rock chucks in the first like 5 minutes or 6 minutes of the hunt this week. And it's because this gun is so quiet, so accurate. And I'll tell you why it's accurate here in a minute, but it's so quiet. It's like you shoot one rock chuck and then his buddy hears like this little thud. And he thinks his other buddy may have raised up into a root real fast or something and knocked his head, when actually a 14 grain RWS pellet just hit him right about here. Lights out. So then his buddy comes out and he's like, "Hey, you been drinking again, Joe Bob?" And then I shoot him too. And then his buddy comes out. "Hey, you all been drinking, Joe Bob and Henry?" And then I shoot him too. And before too long, you got a couch party. Everybody's just laying around. Because I shot him right here, right there. 5 rock chucks in 5 or 6 minutes, all in the head, and in way under an hour. It's probably 30 or 40 minutes. I had 11 killed. I pulled the trigger 11 times and had 11 killed. All headshots, 0 or 15 yards to 52 yards. So on top of it being a high quality barrel, it's fully shrouded. It's very quiet. It's free floating. There's nothing. There's nothing inhibiting accuracy here. This is very high performance and very accurate for the price range. Now, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, free floated, is it durable? These things are as durable as my powder burners, free floating a powder burner barrel. I will give you guys a testimony on the durability of this barrel. So I got a Rambo bike and I have the bracket on the back where you mount your gun. Well, I mounted the gun, but I didn't strap it down with nothing, and I forgot about it sitting there. I was taking pictures and doing all that stuff I do, and I went to push the bike, and the gun fell, and it landed. The butt stayed up on the bike, and the barrel hit the ground. And I'm telling you, it took a pretty big hit, and it was still dead on. We went out and shot 7 cottontails tonight from 0 to 37 yards, no problem. So very, very accurate. Now you guys see the tank right here. It's kind of a small little turd, ain't it? That's the gauge right there. And on this side is the nipple. I said nipple on my podcast. Anyway, that's the nipple. That's where you fill it up at. And I will talk about filling it up here in a minute. But you see the little tank? This is actually a 13 cubic inch, 3,000 PSI high pressure tank. Now, I've been using 13 cubic inch tanks my whole life. Not with air guns though. A lot of people don't know a lot of stuff about me, but I used to play on a stock class paintball team. And we used 13 cubic inch high pressure tanks in our Phantoms. We played with pump action Phantom paintball guns. And we actually played in the Show Me games one time, and we took third in the Show Me games, and everybody else is using them real fast, you know, and they shoot like 2,500 rounds in half a second. We took third in that tournament out of like 17 teams with pump action air guns. So this tank is plenty big enough, and I'm going to tell you why. 13 cubic inch, high pressure, 3,000 PSI tank. Now, that brings me to the inside. Really don't matter what stuff is on the outside, even though this thing looks cool. And the stock has a contour right here that you can throw it over your shoulder. It's easily carried. Ambidextrous stock. That way, if you want to shoot right-handed and then you want to switch to your left hand thinking you're really bad and you don't and you miss. But anyway, you can do that easily now. So anyway, so let's talk about the insides. We got this 13 cubic inch little bitty turd of a tank, 3,000 PSI. Why is that so important? Because inside all this stuff right here, there's a regulator. And the regulator is set at 1,100 PSI. Now that don't mean it shoots out 1,100 PSI every time you squeeze the trigger. What that means is you get the same amount of air to the delivery point right here every time, long as you're over 1,100 PSI. And that's very important in several ways. For one, in the past, you spend $1,000 on an air gun, and it's accurate, and it's quiet, and it shoots good, and it might have a rotary magazine. That's a total pain in the butt. You guys notice I'm not cussing tonight? I'm cleaning up my act. I'm on the straight and narrow. I'm not edgy no more. I'm just going to be me, but I am going to clean it up a little bit because there's a lot of little guys watching. And tonight, especially this air gun episode, is really going to influence a lot of people, hopefully, to buy air guns because they are awesome. I'm telling you. But anyway, okay, back to the regulator here. So the regulator delivers 1,100 PSI, or it delivers the same amount of air to your point every time. This gun right here with a 13 cubic inch, there's that freaking redneck crap coming out of Carolina again. 13 cubic inch. I turned into a Yankee, but I still talk funny. It's weird. I know it is. I mean, you guys can send me comments and emails and tell me, but I already know it's weird. But anyway, so you got this 13 cubic inch tank right here. It's a little bitty turd, but it's 3,000 PSI, and it's regulated inside. So that what that means, here's the most important thing about all that bull crap I just told you. If I fill this up to 3,000 PSI, if I fill it up to 3,000 PSI, I get 60 shots. Anywhere, depending on the pellet now, in your grain you're shooting, but having a 14 grain RWS pellet flying at 855 feet per second, and I don't know the energy right off bat, you know, I've kind of forgot that stuff, but you're good from anywhere from Swift Fox all the way down to grasshoppers. I don't care. So anyway, so from animals 8 to 9, 10 pounds, raccoons, anything raccoon and under, with a .22 caliber, this rifle can handle easily. And you can shoot pigs with it too if you want to. Just get them close. But I get 60 shots. So what that means is, like today, if I grab my Rambo bike, I don't have to have a pony tank. I don't have to have a hand pump. I don't have to have anything. It's filled up. I go hunt. Now, if you're going down to the river or you're going to your grandpa's barn to shoot pigeons and you're going to shoot over 60 times, then yeah, you need to take a tank or a hand pump. And I do want to talk about that a little bit. In the past, talking about innovation. In the past, hand pumps have been up to $200. Umarex USA makes a hand pump right now that you can pump this up just like a bicycle pump, but it's a two-stage pump. You can, for 90 bucks, you can pump up this, or really $90. So this gun right here is under $300. So for 90 more, so let's just say under $400, you're in the PCP business, plain and simple. Not sugar-coated, not nothing. Now this may seem like a hard sell podcast, but it's not really hard selling this rifle. I'm just showing you this air gun tonight. I want to go over it all the way from the end of the buttstock all the way to the end. I want to talk about its nipples. I said nipple again on my podcast. I want to talk about every feature because this is the future. Now, Umarex USA has come out with a $300 air gun that'll do what a lot of $1,000 air guns, you know. And there's other companies in the market, Crossman, Air Force, I think Gameo. I don't really know much about Gameo. I don't pay attention to them much. But working for Air Gunner, I get to shoot a lot of different air guns. And there's a lot of different companies out of there. And they're all competing. They're all competing right now to make the best products. And I will tell you right now, out of all the air gun companies I've ever worked with, or I do know the people that work for them, which is about all of them, there is a lot of good people, and they ain't building junk. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming your way. Now, this Gauntlet, regulated, 60 shots before a point of impact change, one fill, that is awesome for the money. I cannot say that enough. This is a powerhouse, and I love it. It slipped into my #1 air gun spot because I've killed 20 animals with it in 30 shots. You know, let's just say 30 shots. Now, I do have a big scope on it, and you guys don't recognize this brand. That is Axion Optics. Axion Optics is a new partner of Dog Soldier. We talk about the new partners and how the show is fine-tuned, okay? So I went, one thing my pet peeve is sometimes you lose sponsors and you have to get new sponsors or whatever the case may be, but you don't ever hear me say the best or you have to have this or if you don't have this, you suck. You don't ever hear me say stuff like that because really my job as an outdoor personality, just like this Gauntlet right here, is to give you enough information that when you get to the shelf, you have enough information to make the best educated decision that you can make. And if I don't do my job right, you guys would go out and buy a bunch of junk. If I took a bunch of sponsors that was junk, then you're gonna take it out on me a little bit, just like the Cirrus Windicator. It's $35 at tacticalpredatorhunter.com. Shameless plug. So this Cirrus Windicator, do you have to have it? No, but it's cool and it's a great Windicator and it's really worth the money in my eyes. If you don't think it's worth the money to you guys, that's fine. But I know if I give you enough information on that product and you decide to buy one, you're gonna be happy with it. And you're going to be happy that you took my advice or you took the information and made a good decision. Now, let's get back to Axion. So Axion jumped on board with Dog Soldier actually last year. And we really kind of kept it under the sheets because we were developing the scopes and we were working on stuff and, you know, engineering and all the stuff that good manufacturers do before just throwing out a product. We didn't want to throw them out until they were proven. We didn't want to throw them out till we got everything right. So here's Axion. Now this is the 6x24x50. Now this is a rifle scope, but it has a side focus with a parallax that allow me to focus all the way down to 15 yards. that makes it an awesome contender for this air gun, because I shoot up close, 15 yards. And if you grab any other scope, sometimes it's hard to focus on your targets. If you're trying to shoot a rock chuck's head, which is like size of a quarter, at 15 yards, you'd like to be in focus. So the parallax, the side focus, everything's awesome. It does have lighted reticles. There's several different models in Axion, all the way from red dots to about every scope you can imagine. And the price point is $300-ish. Don't let the price scare you. This is very good quality. It's been independently tested. Axion gave a lot of money to several different companies to independently test these scopes, and they are top notch. I'm very happy with them up to this point. If that changes, I'll be glad to tell you. So this is what I wanted to talk about tonight, the air gun world. I wanted to talk about the new Gauntlet. There's a new gun coming out called the Hammer, which is a 50 caliber pre-charged pneumatic air gun, and it's clip fed. You're going to have 3 shots. I believe it's regulated 2. I'm not for sure. But it shoots a new type of ammo coming out. The Havoc's ammo, and they make ammo for it that you can shoot out of this 50 caliber air gun all the way from 30 caliber down to or up to 50 caliber. So if you really need a heavy bullet and you need to kill them big animals of 300, 400 pound hogs, there you go. If you're shooting coyotes, foxes, etc., you can shoot a 30 caliber. And you got that 45 in there because a lot of people like the 45 caliber. So this is why I'm so excited this week. I've had this gun in my hands for a few months now. I've been pretty quiet about it, and the reason why is because I've been running it through the ringer. I shot a 60 shot group the other day at 35 yards at a quarter to cover up. 60 shots. Now, it's hard to get me to set still 60 times, so I did it pretty fast, shot the group well. This gun, you know, and there is some things that I would like to see different. So I'm going to be honest with you. The stock has great ergonomics. It feels good. It's durable, but I don't know. It feels, it's comfortable as heck. I mean, I really like it. I don't want to dig myself in a hole here, but maybe I don't know, the texture. Maybe the texture, I want a different texture, which is nothing. You know, can of spray paint. I ain't too worried about it. As far as that goes, I can't really. The trigger, talked about the trigger. It's about a 3.5, 4 pound trigger. It matches all my powder burners. So I can shoot this all day long for less, and I love it. We talked about its nipple. Really has a good looking nipple right here. Hand pump from Umarex USA for $90. If you shoot this gun, I had an Air Arms one time that shot really, really well. It was a 3,000 PSI air gun, just like this one, 22 caliber. I also have one in a 25 caliber. I have a lot more air guns than I do rifles, believe it or not, or powder burners. But I would shoot about 20 shots, maybe, like 18 shots that was within 10 feet per second of each other, and that was pretty accurate. This, I shot 60 times, and it was anywhere from 855 to 900 feet. And you'd be surprised how many times I duplicated 855 feet. But when I hooked the hand pump up to the Air Arms, I'd shoot about 20 times, and it took 50 pumps to refill it. And I think, so let's just convert that. I don't know if it's for sure because this is a different capacity tank and everything else. There's a lot of factors going on. But it don't take but just a little bit to pump a pump 150 times, believe it or not. I mean, that is nothing. And then what's even better is you get 60 shots for that. You can get high pressure air tanks from pyramidair.com. Air Venturi, it was Pyramid Air, has great carbon fiber air tanks, 4,500 PSI, and they will fill this bad boy. If you fill up a 88 cubic foot, 4,500 PSI carbon tank from Pyramid Air, it will last you all year, unless you just shoot every day, all day long. I mean, it's going to last forever. A lot of people ask, well, how do you fill up a 4,500 PSI tank? Pyramid Air happens to make a compressor, and it's priced very affordably. $300, I think, if I remember right. I may be wrong on that. I'm not watching the chat room right now, so if somebody knows, they may throw that out there. But a high-pressure air compressor, which is like 3-stage. You hook your regular shop compressor up to it, and then it compresses it 2 more times, and then you're allowed to fill them. Takes about 3 or 4 hours sometimes to fill a huge tank, but it's worth it because I've got 3 tanks in my garage right now full, and it's going to last me forever. Now I can take some of my 50 calibers to Texas, and I can grab an air bolt from Pyramid Air, which is actually a bolt with a broadhead on it, and shoot pigs, and they consume a lot more air. So therefore you need a lot more air. So that's why I have a bunch of tanks, because when I'm traveling, I don't have my compressor and I need a lot of air. You guys wouldn't believe the amount of traveling I do with air guns. But that's how you fill these things up. A simple hand pump, which is 25 caliber or less, is very simple to fill up, even the 30 calibers. But this gauntlet comes in .177, .22, and .25 calibers. So you're good with a hand pump. You can go to umarexusa.com, get you a gauntlet. They're not available yet, but they're going to be available soon, like August. You can go ahead and pre-order, get in line, get you a gauntlet, get you an air gun or an air pump while you're at it, and you're going to be in business. And check out Axion Optics. We were talking about innovation with air guns. There's been, and you know, I'm going to switch over to the chat room just a little bit and kind of read the chat. Okay, so I'm going to answer you guys some of these different. Ryan Brown says Rock Chuck's also called a groundhog. Yeah, they're pretty much a groundhog. What we had back in the South and what we had back in the East, and you know, stuff like that. So yeah, Rock Chuck's pretty much a groundhog. Yeah, Brian says like a woodchuck only lives in the rocks. Raymond Teske, you're funny. Okay, so just kind of skimming over these. Yeah, you know, Mr. Trussell said, Steve, thanks for talking about air guns. They're so much fun. You wouldn't believe how big of a part of my life air guns are. They're a huge part of my life. Not only working with Air Gunner, but that's how I got my air gun gig with American Air Gunner TV, is because of not so much my knowledge. I know how air guns work, and I know how valves work and stuff like that, but I've hunted with them so long, I know how to be effective with an air gun, and that's what we're trying to show the world. And when you have products like this, it makes it a lot easier. So yeah, been happy with everything. You've brainwashed me to buy. Sweet. Okay, so Tyler Mitchell says, okay, how much for the 50 caliber? You know, I'm not quite for sure yet. 500-ish, probably 600-ish. It's not going to be crazy expensive. Yes, Wade asked on the chat room, and for you guys listening to the podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud, Wade Hedger commented, can the 50 caliber be used for deer or other big game? Absolutely. There's a lot of southern states, Missouri, for instance, you know, 45 caliber or bigger you can shoot whitetail deers with. I've done it on American Air Gunner. You can go to American Air Gunner YouTube channel, and you can actually see a lot of cool air gun hunting. I've killed big rattlesnakes all the way up to deer with air guns. So a lot of cool stuff going on. Brad Finch, can you say hi to my wife, Amy Finch? Well, what's up, Amy Finch? Is that pretty good? You know, I like giving y'all shout outs. Heck, I give you all a shout out. Ryan Brown, Tyler Mitchell, Neil Durham, Wade Hedger, Lefty 56. Hey, I'm Righty 54. Jason Allen, Brad Fitch, and his wife, Amy. What's up? Cool. So, you know, this podcast may be a little short tonight. like I said, we're gambling on the internet, believe it or not. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We've been bear hunting a lot this week. We're having a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun air gunning, and we're having a lot of fun with our Rambo bikes. Now, next week we are going to be, I believe I got Rich Higgins. Scheduled to be on. Now, if you guys know anything about Rich Higgins or heard of him, he's awesome. When it comes to coyotes, he's very knowledgeable. He knows a lot of stuff. The guy really has it going on. He's seen more coyotes in front of him, in a year than I have my whole life. I mean, the guy knows what he's talking about. But the most important thing about Rich is he's very smart. And when it comes to the biology of a coyote, he is on his game. I mean, every question we can think of asking this guy, he's going to have the answer for. Ken Martin asked, how long has Umarex been around? Umarex is a pretty old company, Ken. I don't know that for sure, but they're well established. They're out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, and they're pretty good dudes. Cool. So we got Rich Higgins coming next week. I know Raymond Teska's watching the podcast. He's a regular. Raymond's awesome. Glad he's watching. We are going to talk about Rambo bikes the week after next. So, and I have some weddings coming up. So the week after, yeah, okay. So I don't think I'm going to miss any podcasts, but if I will, I'll keep you all posted through the Facebook page. But we are going to have Rich on next week, and I believe we're going to talk Rambo bikes the week after. I'll have some of the Rambo bikes people on. They can answer about every question I have for them, which is a million questions. I pulled the Rambo bike out of the box today, put the battery in it, and we've rode 5 miles on it today. Up hills, down hills. I took it to the park and rode up a hill that it's impossible to pedal a bike up it, and it's so steep, and it's pretty. I tried it 4 times and I made it 3. It's pretty demanding. Not just pedaling, but the pedal assist helps. But you got to be able to ride a bike to get up it. I mean, it's not just a straight up hill. It's sidetracking and everything else. So Wade Hedger asked, do all states allow hunting a big game with an air gun? Absolutely not. Go to your local Game and Fish website or your book, search it, make sure it's legal. Believe it or not, there might even be some states you can't hunt small game with. It wasn't very long ago Texas didn't allow air gun hunting of anything. So the 50 caliber is not the Hammer Lee 850. No, the Hammer Lee is a different. If you go to Umarex USA and just search Hammer, better idea. Cassidy Allred asked, Steve, have you killed a coyote with an, okay. I think she meant air gun, but it said something else. But anyway, the message was retracted. But yes, I have. If you go to American Air Gunner YouTube channel, you can find that hunt actually. So I called the coyote in, pretty textbook stand, 50 yards broadside, smoked it, 10-yard circle, dead right there. So it's cool. Wade, I appreciate you. God bless you too, man. I'm a Christian. I'm a God-fearing dude. I'm probably not the most biblical guy in the world. I'm pretty edgy, like I said, but there's a lot of things going on right now in my life, and they're all freaking 150% positive. Everything is perfect right now. I've had one of the best weeks I've ever had in my life, and I'm going to keep rolling. I found out how strong of a network that helps me through anything. Cassidy says I'm a guy. Okay, did I call you a girl? I don't know. But anyway, thanks for telling me. Now I know. I'm sorry, dude. So anyway, I've had a really great week. I found out how big my network is. Just like right now, I'm live from Great Plains Outfitters, their cabin, and been seeing mule deer, big starts of bucks all day. I've been seeing a lot of antelope. If you guys want good western hunts, anything from elk to antelope, whitetail hunting is awesome here. prairie dog shooting. I mean, you can do it all here. Lion hunting. I killed my big lion a couple years ago with Dirk. It weighed like 582 pounds. But anyway, go to gpohunts.com. Dirk and Jen are like, they're family to me. They're my brother and my sister. I mean, I love them guys to death. Matter of fact, I'm going to be marrying them June 9th. And no, I'm not going to marry them, but I'm going to marry them, if that makes any sense. I'm a ordained minister, I guess is what I'm trying to say. No lightning. That's a plus. So anyway, I'm going to do this wedding June 9th in Ten Sleep, Wyoming. You're all welcome. And so Dirk and Jen's getting married. So it's like I'm marrying my brother to my sister. I don't, you know, so it's weird because Jen's like my little sister and Dirk's like my brother and I'm marrying him. So getting back to our roots, I guess. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I don't even know where I'm going with that right now. I'm having so much fun. I'm on top of the world. I'm excited. The only thing wrong right now this week is Emily is in Vermont and I'm in Wyoming. Now I've been away from Emily. I've been away from Emily a lot. I have to travel in the 3 digits. Every year I have to travel 100 days or so to get everything done in my career. And she's always home without me. And I can't, this is the first time I've ever been home without her. And I'm telling you right now, it's hard. So it's real hard. I don't want to get soft on you guys, but behind every successful dude is a good woman. And I got a bunch of family surrounding me right now, Dirk and Jen. Jeremy, my field producer from Iowa. You know, without Jen, Dirk would suck. And without Stacy, Jeremy would suck. And, well, without Stacy, Jeremy wouldn't have turned into a Yankee. But, you know, it's just, I miss Emily pretty bad right now. I'm just not going to lie. So this is the first time I've been home without her. So I have a total new respect for what she goes through. So take care of your women, all you guys watching. It's very, very important. Cassidy Allred says, it's all right, Steve. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. You know what? I have a show on the Sportsman Channel too. You should watch it on Sportsman Channel too because you can see these episodes way before they get to YouTube. So go to sportsmanchannel.com and see when my times are because don't hold it against me, but I don't even watch it. So I don't know what days it airs. But it airs from January through July on the Sportsman Channel, and then I move everything to YouTube. And I'm getting ready to liven up Carbon TV and Roku right now. So we're going to have all kinds of platforms for you guys to watch Dog Soldier. Steve, it would be mind-blowing if you married me when I get married. Dude, I'm not marrying a dude. I'm sorry. But if you want to marry a woman, I might perform your wedding. Dude, I'm really having fun now. We're kicking loose. We got through the airgun stuff. We have a pretty good podcast. Now we're being a true blue podcast conversationalist is what we're doing right now. Well, I appreciate it, Tyler. I believe I gave your fiance or your little lady, I believe I gave her a shout out one night for you. Yeah, Neil, you know, without our wives, we would be in serious trouble. I have a new respect, though, straight up. I'm not going to lie. This is the first time, like I said, I've been home without her, and it is miserable, man. So I tell you right now, I hope she ain't as miserable as I am when she's home alone because it sucks a little bit. It's pretty tough. But we're gonna finish out the week. We're gonna bear hunt. We're gonna have a lot of fun this week. We're gonna shoot some more stuff with air guns, and Jeremy flies home Saturday. He's been here a week. If we don't kill a bear, I'm just going to keep after it, and I'll fly him back out or somebody, and we'll yeah, Tyler, give me a call. We'll figure something out. I don't know where you live, but you never know. So I think I'm going to make this new rule, okay? I think I'm going to make this new rule. And Dirk and Jen's up in the loft of the cabin so they hear me. I'm going to make this new rule. If I marry people, they have to give me a pistol. That's what I think. I think that's my new rule. Because Dirk gave me this awesome Ruger 22 long rifle pistol to build a holster for. And since I already have it, it would be a pretty easy transition. But anyway. He's up there cussing the heck out of me right now. He's going like this right here. He's going. And he thinks I can't hear his lips moving. You know what, Sin City, I don't do much. Well, I don't do any fishing, man. If I go back to Missouri, and when I go back to Missouri, sometimes when the little girls want to go fishing, then I'll take them fishing. My good brother, Stacy Hall there, he's got some good fishing. So I remember, we take Zoe and Ellie fishing now, but I remember when me and Stacy used to take Macy and Zoe when she was really little fishing. So, yeah, I do a little fishing, but not much. Holy crap, Tyler, you're in West Tennessee. So for everybody listening to the podcast right now on iTunes or SoundCloud.com, I think you can go to SoundCloud.com / anyway, I don't know what the link is, but anyway, it's either on SoundCloud or iTunes podcast. So if you guys are listening to this, sometimes I get off the track and I just start talking to imaginary people. It's because we stream live on YouTube, and then we move everything over to podcast and iTunes and SoundCloud and stuff. So when I'm talking to these people, sometimes it sounds like I get a little sidetracked. Okay, so Tyler in the chat room had asked me to marry him, and I told him no. So evidently now he's got some chick he wants to marry. All within a matter of 3 minutes, he asked me to marry him. He dumps me and gets this new chick. And then he said, I'll give you a pistol. So since Dirk Jenkins is watching and Jennifer Jenkins is watching, you guys this kid's got it going on. He knows how stuff works. So anyway, I want a Glock MOS 10 millimeter. Just so you know, Tyler. And if Dirk's listening, I'll take 2. Okay. So Wade Hedger in the comment, now we're having a little fun with the podcast. Toward the end of the podcast, a lot of times I start rambling and I start having fun because I am a conversationalist. I like having conversations with people. I like talking. And I think that's what podcasts should be, because I'm telling you right now, if you guys are on your way to work, you can switch it over to iTunes, listen to the podcast, or you can watch it on YouTube or listen to it. Now, if you have an iPhone, I don't know how to do it on Android and stuff like that because they suck. But if you have an iTunes or an iPhone, you can listen to YouTube in the background of your iPhone, because it sucks watching video driving down the road. You get speeding tickets. But all you got to do is start it on YouTube, swipe the screen up, and then push the media player again, and it'll play it in the background. So as a conversationalist, what we do is we just like talking. And we just like rambling, and you guys hopefully like listening. It's very important for you guys. Start commenting, telling me how many guys are watching right now that has an iTunes phone or an iPhone, because I need you guys to go to iTunes, search Dog Soldier, and then click reviews and leave me a review. Whether you like it or not, leave me a review, because it's real important, because it's how I get rated. Once I get rated, then I'm rocking. Everything's working. Okay, so Tyler Mitchell says he's going to get me the Glock MOS 10 millimeter. And I need a plane ticket, and I need somewhere to coyote hunt that weekend while I'm there, and a cameraman. Sin City says, if you make it out to Vegas, hit us up. Okay, we can hunt and fish, and I have 35,000 subs. Oh, you got a YouTube channel, I imagine. Is that what we're... But anyway, I'm out to Vegas every year. January, we have SHOT Show. That's one cool thing about the industry. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that sucks, but there's a lot of really good stuff in the industry. And one of them is going to SHOT Show every year, getting to see all my buddies, because I've made so many friends in the outdoor industry, and we only see each other once a year, and it's at SHOT Show. We'll talk on the phone and yada, 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 or whatever, but we don't get to see people in person until SHOT Show. So I'm in Vegas every year around January. So Ryan Brown, you have an iPhone. Ryan Brown chatted, I have an iPhone. Once again, go to iTunes, search Dog Soldier on the podcast, and then leave a review. It's very, very important. If you don't have iTunes, it's fine. It's all good. So somebody a while ago said, oh yeah, Wade did. Okay, so Wade's chatting. When I was telling everybody I wanted a pistol for marrying him, Wade commented that he had a Super Soaker. I love Super Soakers. I had one in high school, and they were awesome. At the end of every year, school year, the last day of school, we'd have water fights around town, and that's back in the good old days before you got sued or pulled over for that. And every now and then, if you're lucky, you got in a good fist fight down at the park the last day of school. That was pretty cool. But we're always digging that. So we talked about bear hunting. We talked about air guns. I want to touch base on some other stuff. We had, so I've had a lot of time driving here lately. So I listen to this podcast, which I love podcasts now because I think I'm a podcaster, which I really technically probably suck at it. But I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and he had a guy on there, Jocko Willink. He has a great podcast. It's kind of hard to follow because it's more a military-based podcast, and I'm not a serviceman or I'm not a veteran, so it's a lot of stuff I don't understand and stuff like that. But Jocko has a great podcast. But he had Jocko on there, and they got to talking about so many things. And this is kind of off topic from everything that we've been talking about the last few minutes. But so they started talking about negative stuff, like things going on in your life that's negative, things, might feel like they're going positive. And then later today, you might just feel like stuff is just falling down around you. And one thing Jocko said, and of course Joe Rogan agreed too, is both of these guys, Jocko and Joe, has been in some pretty dark places in their lives, and we've all been at one time or another. And if you say you haven't, you're lying. But we've all been in some kind of dark place in our life. Okay, so one thing about being in a dark place, that guy like, what's his name? Like George Washington or something invented the light bulb. But anyway, I don't know who invented the damn light bulb, but all I'm saying is if you're in a dark place, it's easy to flip a switch, and turn the light on. I'm not going to get all emotional and stuff like that with you, but when you're in a dark place, it's easy to get out of it because it's dark, and they make light for a reason. And all you have to do is just grow. And I didn't really understand that till I started listening to this podcast. And you got Jocko Willink and Joe Rogan. Joe's been through all avenues of life, and he's a successful podcaster. He's a successful fight announcer, and he's a stand-up comedian. And you got Jocko, which is a veteran, special forces, been and seen through it all. And how they get out of these dark places, is I ain't going to use the exact words Joe does because I am trying to clean it up, but find something you suck at and try to make yourself better. And that's really, really, really important to me right now. Maybe this podcast is something I really suck at, but I would like it to get better because I'll be honest with you, I like doing this podcast every week probably more than I do filming episodes. I know that sounds funny, but filming episodes for Dog Soldier is my career. It's what I was born to do. I feel like it's what I was made to do. It's what I was molded to do. I'm an entertainer. But one thing you got to think about is what do you want to do? And what do you want to do to get better at what you really suck at? Because a lot of times you might really want to do something and you suck at it. I always wanted to be a bull rider. I sucked at it, and I never did get better. And since I do like being the center of attention, I started fighting bulls, and I made a really good small career out of it. Made a lot of money, traveled a lot, had a lot of friends and fans and family that love that lifestyle. So what I'm getting at is man, you don't have to be like in a suicide dark place, or I'm going to jump off the Eiffel Tower dark place. But, tomorrow if you go to work and you look around you and you think, man, this freaking sucks, turn on the light. Go home, get you a hobby, figure out what it is you want to try to do, and if you suck at it, make yourself better. Now I'm officially rambling my butt off on my podcast. So I hope I just didn't make a good thing worse. But anyway, I'm seeing some chats. So that's my deal. If you're in a dark place, turn on the light. It's real simple. Think of it positively. That's all you got to do. I've been in dark places before. I was in a dark place this week for about 30 minutes. You know, it's just that simple. Turn on the light. Okay, so Lefty56 says on the chat room, if you can shoot arrows with it, what's the feet per second? How many grains do they weigh? Okay, I don't know how many grain the air bolt is, but you can shoot that thing. I shoot my air bolt at like 360 feet per second, but we have logged almost 500 feet per second, and it flies like a dart, and it is accurate. Make sure you use a crossbow target. Crossbow target, not a. I'm telling you right now, for instance, the Air Venturi Dragon Claw is a 50 caliber air gun. With that, it's a 3,000 PSI air gun, and it has a half cock. So you pull the hammer back all the way, and that's full cock, or you pull it halfway back, and that's half power or half cock. At 3,000 PSI, half cock at 50 yards, it will blow the bullseye plumb out of a block target, and you're going to lose your air bolt. So get you a crossbow target. So Tyler says, got to get him a Glock and a plane ticket, and it's a done deal. You know what? You never know. I might work something out with you, Tyler. Shoot me a message on Facebook or go to tacticalpredatorhunter.com, join the email list, and that'll put you on my email list. But you can reach me at the Dog Soldier at tacticalpredatorhunter.com or sales at tacticalpredatorhunter.com. Yep, Raymond, I agree. I agree 100%. You know, Eric Garcia says you probably feel like you're connecting with folks a lot more about your podcast or with your podcast. Okay, so you know we've almost rambled an hour here, but now we're really getting into what podcaster may do. We're usually podcasters are classified as conversationalists. If you do it this style, which is, you know, sometimes I have folks on the podcast and we talk and have conversations, and you guys learn a lot. I learn a lot. And then sometimes I have chat weeks. Like last week, all I did was chat with you guys, and it was a really great podcast. I listen to these after, even after I air them, I'll listen to them because I really don't get the gist of us just sitting here talking to it. But, you know, listening to Joe Rogan and listening to Jocko Willink and some other podcasters, yeah, it's a very important tool, and you guys will get to know me better through a podcast than probably a TV show. But one thing about this podcast, you guys are going to watch this podcast and you're going to watch the TV show, whether it's through the Sportsman Channel, YouTube, Carbon TV, or Roku. But one thing you guys are going to do is you are going to get to know me. You know, you remember 8 weeks ago when I started this podcast, like 2 months ago, I started this podcast, and I told you guys the most important thing is I'm going to get to know you guys better. You know, sometimes I have 100 people watching. Sometimes, like right now, I think I only have 18 people watching. But you know what? I see regulars every week like Tyler and Raymond, Coyote Cody. Lefty's been on before. You know, here's the thing. We're going to get to know each other, and we're going to have – this is going to turn into something very positive and something very, very good. And even though there ain't a lot of people watching the live podcast right now, this thing will be watched 200 or 300 times before in the morning. I mean, it gets watched a lot, and I don't care if there was one person watching right now, okay? I admit when I first started the podcast, I felt like it was a failure because the first day or the first podcast, like 50 people watched. Then the second podcast, like 150 people at one time were watching the podcast. And then the next week, it was like 30. Well, you know what? I do have to admit the reason 150 people were watching that podcast is because I ran my mouth all week on social media, and people expected drama and trouble out of the podcast. And there was a little bit at the first because I thought the podcast was going to go a certain way, and it's not. And it's just industry black tape. It's nothing personal against anybody. It just is what it is. And that's why I changed the name to Plain and Simple. Maybe we'll talk about air guns. Maybe we won't. But you guys are going to get to know me, and it's going to be no BS. And I'm going to get to know you guys more importantly. You know, Tyler says he looks forward to the podcast every week. You know, if you're listening to it on iTunes or SoundCloud or watching it live on YouTube, it is what it is, and that's what we're out to do. We want you guys to connect with Dog Soldier in a way that you know, when you're sitting with your buddies at a party, or you're sitting at a Sunday dinner, or in church, or a Sunday school class, or wherever you might be, and you start talking about hunting shows, when somebody mentions Dog Soldier and you guys say, hey, I know that guy, when you say, hey, I know that guy, that's exactly what I want you to think, or I want you to feel. If you're in a Sunday school class and say, hey, I know that guy, and you really don't, technically you lied. You're going to get struck by lightning, and your hair is going to be parted to the right the rest of your life. Nobody wants that. So I know that guy. It's that simple, because you guys do know me. It is what it is. You're seeing what it is, and that's just how it is. So anyway, I'm glad you guys are on. I see some comments about Varmint X, and Coyote Cody and Eric's talking about Varmint X. It's a great shotgun round. I hope you guys try it out. And anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm using Dirk and Jen's internet up, and really, don't know how these podcasts turn out with makeshift lighting and a pretty much a webcam or whatever you call it on the Mac. But anyway, once again, the podcast is brought to you by TacticalPredatorHunter.com for all your Dog Soldier approved gear. You guys don't have to buy Dog Soldier approved gear, but if you are looking for bog sticks or FLX 500s or 1000s, or your Dog Soldier Predator calls, holsters, shooting accessories, Halo rangefinders, Kydex products, Rambo bikes, Cirrus wind indicators, go to TacticalPredatorHunter.com, because really, realistically, that's what keeps our wheels rolling and makes everything possible. Once again, without you guys, I'm nothing, and I appreciate it. Keep your head up, move forward, stay fearless, and apologize to no one. Live the life to your fullest. And if you get in a dark place, turn the light on. Peace out, homies. I'm getting off here. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.